My guest today has sex with our guest host, Courtney Burrs.
Oh, nice, man. That's my first credit.
He's also a stand-up comedian who performed at the San Francisco Comedy Competition and at Bumbershoot and Seattle International Comedy Competition. I'm excited to welcome Luke Severeid.
I am excited to be here.
I need to get
get me in the mood, bro.
As soon as you got on with, I was like, should I say this? Should I not? And I appreciate you letting me.
Yeah. I didn't let you. You didn't ask permission.
That's
You
true,
just let in. You're like, all right, this guest right here, he bangs a bird. Bird banger, Luke Severeid.
God damn it.
Yeah.
So funny. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for having me. You got a nice little setup. It's got a comfy couch, a lot of gear around these parts. Y'all can't see because the camera's aimed at, but you see these? Everything else looks as nice as these headphones look on my head.
And it's great you're saying that right away, because if anybody's listening right now, you really should be watching us on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really what's happening right now. Like, oh, you only listen to podcasts? That's 2014 of you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you do get on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming content.
Gross. But yes, and necessary, man. I hate that. Like, it shows and whatnot where you're just like, hey, do you want to follow me on all the things? Because I need a career more than I have a career right now. It's
ridiculous. But the thing too is all these algorithms, they drive whether or not your stuff even gets pushed out. So like, I can see I'm starting to not be completely stupid with it. And like, there's like a whole career out of like all the little like intricacies of,
man.
And we get to do that as comedians, like it's not funny in any way at all.
No.
But you get to be a data scientist.
You have to become
an expert in communications technology, all of these things. Really, that's what you got into comedy for.
Yeah. I got into comedy to sell t-shirts. To be able to pay my bills, sell t-shirts. I was like, I'm just a big fan of apparel.
Yeah.
And then 2 is to just get into marketing, but like the backside of it.
Yeah.
And just really figure out what's the optimal time to tweet and to post something on Instagram and to TikTok. Oh my God. I've always had a passion for trying to supply China with as much personal data of the American people as possible.
How much did you hate TikTok? Well, TikTok wasn't going when you got into comedy, right?
Oh, no. TikTok, I started about a decade ago. TikTok's only been around for a handful of years, and I've only been paying attention to it for
I
like
hate it so much. I hate everything about it.
Yeah.
Because I started liking it. Like I was using it. I used it for promo and shit. And as I was using it, I was like, oh, these are some cool videos or whatever. And then I got sucked in and I was like, I'm just looking at butt cheeks all the time. Like the algorithm realized that what I liked was like different butts and like the themed music and whatever. So you'd have 4 songs you'd hear.
Well,
and it's like such carnal parts of the brain.
It's the culmination of years and years of research, for marketing, just to be like, all right, this is where they're just making little like artisanal news feeds for each of us. And I'm sure they're tracking our eyes. So you're like watching a video and then you like look down towards the bottom and they're like, it's an ass man.
Just Pinterest for fucking creeps.
Yeah.
It's funny because
it's for you. It's Pinterest for creeps, but exactly. Other people are like, I like to see tools.
Well, what's funny too is, there are those people that are looking at it for like those like clean interests or like wholesome interests. And then all of a sudden there's just like, oh, why is there a butt cheek on here? Like,
well, they're testing the watch. We're like, are you into, no? Oh,
you like tools, but do you also like fat booties? And then sometimes, yes.
And sometimes they get very upset and then swipe. And then go back later and go, what was that video that
Dude, I don't know if I mentioned this to you because we did a gig this week. Thank you for getting into that. But Ashley Gutermuth came on. I think it might be the episode right before this or a couple before this, but she's had a ton of success on social media. It was like 8 million TikTok views.
Oh, dang.
And one thing that she mentioned was like controversy is what really drives the algorithm pushing your stuff. So her best videos are videos where they've been the most divisive. And we were doing an episode recently where we were making a joke that is a divisive joke, and I just clipped it and I put it up there. Immediately saw reactions. Like it pushed it all the way. So it's like the algorithm is set up to divide us and to create. It's pretty much like Jerry Springer or something like that.
Well, the algorithm is set up. It's not set up to divide us. It's set up to optimize engagement, and divisive topics lead to the most engagement.
Yes.
And so if you say something divisive, each side is going to engage, and then they're going to bicker. And the more bickering, the more time you pay attention to the video, the more time you're sucked into the app, the more Instagram, TikTok, whatever is going to push it to the forefront. And this is how we got the 2016 election.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that both of us know all this, right? Like before doing stand-up, like I looked at Instagram casually, and it's just totally like all of it is just created so that you spend more time on it, and that they can fucking advertise on these apps and like charge people. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, it's like McDonald's making food that you eat and it makes you full temporarily, which is how all food works. I'm not an idiot. Yeah. But it also like doesn't nourish you, so you're hungry again and then want to eat again. It's basically, it's getting you hooked. It's drugs, man. Everything's drugs. It's just drugs.
It's just that reaction. It's wild, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate though, because with the way I'm trying to do my stand-up is that I don't feel like doing divisive things. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of over the amount of bickering we're doing, because I know what is happening behind the scenes, at least with this element of because social media is such a humongous part of our lives that it has it's overtaken like reality. Oh, yeah. And how I go, oh, this is how like we're bickering ourselves into oblivion. And I don't necessarily want to contribute, but I also I want to have a career. I want to do stuff. But I try to write jokes that resonate with as many people as possible. But the algorithm doesn't want that. It wants me to pit people against each other. And you're like, all right, man, well, in the room, when I'm telling jokes, I'm trying to get everybody to laugh. Mm-hmm. But it's like you have to have
in order to get people in the room, you got to fucking get controversy. It's very strange. And the thing is I mean, it's definitely healthier not to have that stuff. I think you've mentioned that you've taken like breaks from it. And
yeah, I was doing that before just because I would always, it's just too easy to stare at it. I mean, we're all addicts to some extent. And I catch myself just wanting to, get the little dopamine drip from seeing a notification. And then you're like, yeah, but this is nothing.
It's very strange. Yeah. And then the arguments that people get into about different shit, like, oh, you didn't tag me in this. It's like we're getting in arguments about something that's not even real. It's very strange.
But it is real.
Oh yeah.
It does lead to something, but it's all like little tiny shifts, like little tiny, you didn't tag me in the thing. I could have potentially gotten a handful of new followers out of that, which could have led to someone buying a ticket and blah, blah, blah. Like you didn't give me photo cred on that. You're like, what? Okay. Didn't know you were a professional photographer with your iPhone 10.
It's so crazy, man.
Yeah. And now we're talking about it.
No, I don't think we've really talked about it on this podcast at all. And it's like, I know the importance of it. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing at all. Like I know the route that like you can take social media with a podcast and what that looks like to like meet the algorithm. Most of the time I'm not okay with doing that. Like I don't want to do the baby talk videos, and I don't want to do the like.
How would that go, Adam?
I don't even know how to do baby talk.
What is a baby talk video?
You haven't seen the ones where like they do voiceover and it's like TikTok. I don't know.
Dude, my algorithm is not your algorithm.
I just know about it because the guy that fucking like set me up with the podcast was telling me like, oh, this is what we do for hot tub boats. And I saw it and I was like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Like
baby talk. Like, is it like hot
it's
women?
just one of the theme, like, you know, those trending themes. God, this is so dumb. We're talking about this.
Hey man, you started this. You started off be like,
it's like we're two men in our 30s trying to understand.
I mean, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to understand because it's completely.
I don't know why I brought it up, but it is a good time again to remind you if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell.
That's the second time you said that this pod.
Yeah, and you have to say it within a certain amount of minutes because people drop off.
Oh, they do. Oh, see, that's the thing too, is that you've been able to break down like the drop off points. So you're like, I got to get it in early.
Yeah,
it's like last per minute, but it's a different
tool for that.
Yeah. You better make art, but it better adhere to these pre-constructive structures.
I hate it so much.
Yeah, but you're doing it. I also hate capitalism, I guess. I've realized how much of a peasant I am in the last 2 years. Like,
how so?
Oh, just losing jobs, losing work, and then just being like, oh, I'm completely powerless. Before, like I was, but I was oblivious to it. And then
but okay, so you're saying capitalist from like a acquiring wealth standpoint versus when I hear that, I'm like, consumption is where my brain goes to.
That monetizing every step of the human experience by large corporations is maybe not the best way to be a species.
Mm-hmm.
And how that leads to so many of the issues we are currently having.
I was just watching this movie last night. I think it's Up in the Air, but with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I'm like halfway through it. I fell asleep, but it's a lot of like these same. I mean, it's Adam McKay social commentary, like just like basically shitting on how all of us behave. And there's a lot of truth to, like, I don't know, man. I mean, what's the solution? Because I went up to fucking Alaska in the woods with my cousin, and like he lived up there for 8 years. I can't do that. Like
that's too far away from, like, you're gonna get to the side. You're gonna get a little out there. If it's only, that's another thing. Like if it's just you and your thoughts and that's it. Nah, dog. Like you need some outside input on occasion.
Dude, I gotta tell you this quick before I forget. I don't know if I've ever told that on here, but he lived up at that lake. And when we were up there, there was another cabin on the lake. Like one guy lived there by himself. And it's not like hey, we're all up at the lake. Like it's in a valley. This other camp just happened to be there. And he went up to the camp at one point. The guy wasn't there, but he ended up meeting him in Fairbanks. And the people, like what you were talking about, like how they go schizo or whatever, the people that live in the woods in Alaska by themselves are the weirdest human beings.
I bet.
And my cousin met this guy in a restaurant in Fairbanks, and he's like, hey man, I have a camp on the same lake that you do. Like, I think we're on the same spot.
Like a house or a camp?
House. Like a small, I mean, it's everything's got to be super small just to like, for heating, it gets so cold. It's like minus 30. So he's meeting this guy for the first time ever. And he goes, hey, I think you got a camp where I got a camp. And he goes, yeah, I like it up there. I just go up there with a bunch of Hustler magazines and a jar of Vaseline. And it's in front of a group of people.
Yeah.
Like that was the first, it was, hi, how are you doing? And it's like,
Don't touch his
let's
hands.
talk about jerking off. And
are you telling me you never met a stranger and immediately talked about your masturbation habits? I've seen your act.
Maybe.
You're like, the audacity of this man to say that in front of 7 people at a restaurant. I do it multiple times a week in front of strangers that I can't even see, that have no, even if they speak up to say, hey, I don't like this, I am the one in power and can go, you shut the fuck up. You shut up, I'm going to talk about my dick.
as long as you're amplified, right? And like and under light, that it feels different.
Yeah, it's art.
Yeah. God damn it. That was such a good. Oh.
The problem is that guy didn't have a microphone and he wasn't well lit. So we're like, wow, what a weirdo.
What a creepy guy.
Also Vaseline, man. What are you?
That was the part that stuck with me the most. Is like, I just don't think I've ever considered that as an like.
Well, also,
it was always in the garage. Like that was just there was this jar of Vaseline for like different like tools and shit. That if I don't know why it was in the garage.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a garage. Yeah, no, that's more of like a bathroom thing. Vaseline is usually for like cracked skin, stuff like that. But I think probably why Alaska, maybe it doesn't freeze. Vaseline, I don't know how cold it has to get to make it so that it's not still kind of like a liquid. And also you can buy it in bulk, which is definitely necessary if you're like stuck, if you're locked into your place for like 6-7 months out of the year. Like, come on, man, you need to buy in bulk.
I just got a new jar of Cetaphil over there. Let's take a few minutes. Let's see how long it'll last.
Few minutes? Okay, speak for yourself, man. I like to take my time.
Cut the cameras and just we come back sweaty with our shirts on.
Yeah, well, got to make that content.
Yeah.
I was like, why are the cameras stopping, man?
We're going to switch over to the Patreon for our OnlyFans account.
My God. Yeah, OnlyFans would want to see that. Not the kind of fans I want, though.
No, it's... Once you said the thing about your headphones, by the way, I can't stop looking at it.
Well, have you looked at yourself?
Is it bad?
It's not. I mean, it's not bad.
The lighting's hard for me to see it on mine, but I never think of that.
Yeah, it's just this weird gap.
Yeah,
like no one has unless you shave your head or you're bald or whatever. I like these kinds of headphones because it like noise canceling. But I'm like, I look like a fucking doofus.
I think. I wouldn't have noticed. It's kind of coney head, like from certain angles. But
hello, internet people.
Okay, so I got a couple just topics I wanted to ask you about because you did San Francisco comedy competition recently. It's pretty like one of the most respected competitions in the country, right? Like it was Stanhope came out of it. I think he beat
Dane Cook. No,
yeah, those two went 1-2.
Yeah, it was something.
Some huge names have come out of that competition.
Yeah, not in a while, but yeah.
I think Segura was in it, and I don't know, but what was that experience like? Because it's something that's been on my radar. I've applied, haven't gotten in, but
it was stressful, a lot of fun. I mean, I did the Seattle International Comedy Competition a handful of years ago. Didn't make it past the first round, and know why. I know the reasons why that didn't happen. So I kind of took that into this competition, knowing what I did wrong. And so like that first round was a lot of fun because it was like, oh, I get to redo the thing I already did, and I got to be a little bit looser, not as tense. Because I do not like how neurotic I get for competitions. It's intense, man.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And you're much more methodical with your delivery and the words you use. You do kind of say things more verbatim. Mm-hmm. And I'm very just ping-pongy. It's my ADD. It's whatever. I have a hard time repeating things the exact same way. And that's very necessary to do well in competitions. Like having a very airtight, like intentional, no wasted space. And I like to just kind of, I'm like, I'm going to loop my way through it.
At least from the ones that I can't speak to like something at that level, but like, I mean, World Series of Comedy, it's just like you have like a very structured, this is how much time you have. It's not really stand-up. Like it's like stand-up has all these elements of like what's going on in the room, what happened prior to you going up and all these things. And like when I did World Series of Comedy, like I went up first in the lineup for like the semis or whatever for that Minnesota one, and the host like didn't warm up the room at all. So like my set then became sort of like what a host set.
Yeah, you had to crack them open.
Yeah, I had to crack them open.
It's a lot of the work that you've done in the last year has been host work. So that is, I mean, it sucks to have to take that bullet spot, but you're also prepared to do that because that's a thing you've been doing a lot lately.
Yeah, it's that fucking skill set is, you can almost always see it when somebody hasn't hosted. It's
just immediately jump into their opener has no ice breaking. It's just right to it.
Just a lot of times it's no real awareness of like what's gone on prior to them going up there. And like, I mean, a lot of times it's okay if you're going like third or fourth on a show and like the room's already cracked or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like you can get lucky, but a lot of times you really should be just watching the whole fucking show. Like it can burn you by dicking around or like, you know, I don't know. Some people have different opinions on that. I've heard like Ian Bagg won't watch the show because he sees different things happening that like put him in a bad headspace. And then as a result, he's not like,
that can't happen. I mean, if you're watching a show and you don't like how an audience is reacting to something, you can get in your head about how they're going to react to the thing that you're going to do that is somewhat similar to that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it all depends on
shit comics do on the lineup.
Yeah, where you're like, all right, like,
yeah.
But it's also good to be aware of what has happened before you. Yeah, like with the competition.
It's very like.
It all depends on. I mean, ideally, we should all be big boys and big girls and just be able to watch all of it and have it not affect what we're about to do.
Yeah.
But we're all little boys and little girls.
Yeah.
Or little in-betweens, whatever. I want to be inclusive. And we're like, we see the thing happening and we get like all defensive and blah, blah, how's my thing going to go to that? How are they going to blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I don't know. We get it up in our heads, which is where all these jokes come from anyways.
Yeah. It's... Dude, you have a very, I've had a lot of people on. The way you can articulate certain feelings and thoughts is definitely, it's just from like a pure comic standpoint. And I appreciate it, but let's go back a little bit with.
Can I also just say you say that after I finished a statement that ended with me going, and you're like, the way you articulate what it's like to be a comedian is like,
it's just like, it's perfect though. Like it encompasses, you are a very like naturally good writer of your feelings. Like that's an emotive writer, I guess is.
Yeah. I mean, my comedy is emotional. It's an outlet for my anxiety, my anger, my happiness, my whatever.
Yeah. And a lot of people aren't comfortable enough to do that. Like it's a hard thing to crack that open and be like, oh, I want to look at, like, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously, like just being like, okay, I'm going to talk about how I feel. Like that's a lot of people really, that's a big fear for a lot of people.
But the flip side of that is that I have a hard time just saying a joke that isn't somehow tied to me. It makes me feel like a fraud if I'm not narcissistically talking about myself to an extent. It just feels like I'm presenting something else. Mm-hmm. So like, yes, thank you for the compliment, but let me put an asterisk by it.
It's weird. I know what you're talking about, where it's like your point of view isn't the same as like or point of view isn't the same as everything needing to be about me. Like you can have a point of view about something unrelated to you.
Yes, you can. And I haven't spent enough time writing in that way. Mm-hmm. It's easier for me to defend something if I'm attached to it somehow.
But you have like, I don't know, like I don't want to step on any of your material, but I think it's probably more in what I've seen than you realize. Like they're like the school assembly thing. Like that's definitely like another thing that you're not necessarily directly like, you're not the character in that, but it's a point of view about that thing.
But even in that, I'm the character that is reacting to someone doing a thing.
Well, I think, it's point like you have to, I've thought about this a lot too. It's like, I need to be there, but I don't want to be the set. Like, it's fucking confusing, but before we fucking bounce off too far, can we like explain a little bit what San Francisco was like? Because anybody listening, they might know, but.
Okay. So the San Francisco comedy competition, It's a yearly competition. They took 2020 off, or I'm not sure why, but I was in the 2021 competition, and it's multiple weeks. They have 2 preliminary weeks that have 16 comedians each week, and it's like 4 or 5 shows. And each of the shows, it's 16 comics. You get to do like 5 to 7 minutes. You get the light at 3. You can get off after 3, but I mean, it's not going to help your points. And then you get the light at 7, and anything past 7 minutes, you start getting deducted points. And you lose 1 point, like boom, you're automatically going to be in the bottom third.
And they were venues like all over Northern California, right? Like, wasn't it
mostly the Bay Area?
Yeah,
it's pretty, like, it is prestigious, but it's also like it's grunt road work. Like, I don't want to sound not appreciative, but it is a thing where you're like, you don't go do this first week to make money. You only make money if you get it to the second week, and it's not even that much money. But luckily I was able to, it's not a real crash. It's
I just,
you saw smoke.
Yeah.
We're watching NASCAR cause maybe someone's going to die.
Yeah.
Got to get that content, dog.
Exactly.
But then I made it through the first week, and it's a strange process doing multiple sets, like, you know, excuse me, let me say that again. Having a set and then wanting to, you know, switch it up as you're doing it, like make adjustments. But usually the comics that do the best show up with a competition set locked and loaded that is as airtight as can be.
Yeah. And
for me, I was doing material that I had either started working on or had built in the last 2 years. So it wasn't done.
Yeah.
But it was good enough to make it so that I got in the top 5 for that week, and then went back to Washington for a week, and then came back to do the semifinals because I was in the first of the 2 weeks.
Did you drive?
No, I flew both times.
Okay.
Yeah. And then luckily I was able to stay with some people, and like they let me borrow their car. So I lost money overall on the trip, but at least it wasn't as much as it could have been. And then the semifinals, it's 10 comics, the top 5 from each of the first 2 weeks. And you're doing, I think it was like 8 to 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good. But it's just competitions get in your head. And I hadn't done a semifinals thing before. And like I said, I'm not like this super tightly written comic, or at least I don't perceive myself to be that way. I like to, you're talking about like engaging with the audience, like a host, get a feel for them, and then move from there. Like I want to connect with an audience and then move into my material. And to be really good in competitions, you either need to be like a savant with that, where you just kind of can do that instantly and then hop into the material, or just have super tight material where it doesn't matter.
Have you watched Inside Jokes on Amazon?
No.
I watched it just because Rosebud, when she was coming on, like she was featured in it with like Simon Gibson and Daphne Springs and like a bunch of people, and it followed, I think, 10 comics auditioning for JFL and then doing JFL.
Oh, yeah. I actually I met Simon like a handful of months after he filmed that. Mm-hmm. I did a gig down in Portland. He was there.
It was very interesting. I mean, you saying all that, because Simon is very unstructured. Like he just doesn't, he is structured in a way. I mean, if you see him work across sets, like he has his beats, he's trying to get to certain places, but like how he gets there is always going to be different. And watching that in a JFL environment is very interesting, but I think the way he did it was really good. And like, maybe if you check that out, like just to see the evolution, like I think if it doesn't feel natural for you to do something, at least what I've found in comedy is like, if you feel like this is not me, I shouldn't be doing this or whatever, that's a good instinct to listen to. Like because it's not going to be natural and you're going to be forcing it.
Yeah. Which is, I think, part of the reason why I didn't make it further than the semifinals. I'm not bitter or anything about it. The people that won in the top 5, they had great sets.
How far did Burundi get?
He and I were in the first week together. He didn't make it past the first week.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure the cameras got that.
Yeah. Burundi is a loser who did not make it in the top 5. He made it in the bottom 11. The bottom 11.
What's his social media?
What is it? No, the Ugandan comedian.
Yeah, there's only one.
There's only one. Yeah, there's probably a couple. But I do like that he has a Ugandan comedian's lives matter. And I was like, isn't that slightly problematic? Because the issue is black men in America, which he is, but he's also an immigrant. So he just kind of showed up and he was like, wow, you guys really don't have it as awesome here as you would like it. Anyways, buy my merch.
I fucking love that guy. He cracks me up.
Oh yeah, give him compliments so you don't sound like a piece of shit.
No,
for what I said.
I do. I just like, I gotta throw it out there.
Well, Burundi, it was good to do that first week with Burundi. It was a lot of fun. It is nice when you have
the pictures you guys took were hilarious, by the way. Him in the hot tub and shit.
Oh yeah, dude. He texted me. I was up in the room. He texted me just to be like, "Could you come down here?" I'm like, "All right, man. What's up?" Like, I think I had
he asked you to come down to take pictures of him in the hot tub.
Yeah,
of course he did.
Yeah.
How was it approached? Like, how did he pitch it to you, though?
I think he asked me to bring something down. Then he's like, while you're down here, could you do? I was like, fine, man. Like, good job. You don't eat nearly as many carbs as me.
Is that the secret with him? Like, he's fucking jacked, dude.
I mean, it's just daily exercise. It's daily exercise.
But he doesn't work out like that crazy, though, right? Like, it's like 45 minutes. I think he said 30 to 45 minutes a day.
But if he's been doing that consistently for quite a while, I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was just genetics. Like,
I mean, that's one of the largest factors in someone's physical fitness is just what's the blueprint that they were born with.
I can't believe this led to
this
Burundi's body. I know.
You brought this up. I was just like, I'm gonna shit talk this dude, and you're like, man, I love that guy and the curves of his abs.
I literally was squeezing his hips yesterday. Like, I was at Jai Thai, I came up behind him, and then I don't know, man. It's sometimes you just fucking see another dude, you like him, looking into the camera for this.
Yeah, you don't need to look right in my eyes as you say this, because it's also insulting. Because I don't know if you'd even ever say this about me.
I mean, I think at one point you asked me if I was on Molly because I was touching you too much.
Yeah, you did touch me, but I was like, "Are you good, dog?" Like, this is more physical contact than the usual.
I get grabby at shows. I don't like. It's only for dudes though. Like, it's.
Oh, and somehow that makes it okay, Adam.
When they're all straight, yeah, I think there's like it's like a double negative type thing.
It makes it a positive.
It's weird if you make it weird.
Well, that's also that's regular hetero bro humor, is that we're like, what's up with that dick, dude? I'm going to fuck on it. Looking good today, dog. You been doing push-ups? It shows. Let me sniff your asshole.
It's so bad. I think I hit somebody on the nuts on the way in the bathroom. It was Quinn last night. He did look good though. He got a haircut.
That's good.
He needed one.
Dude, I want someone. This is so much inside baseball. Like, we're talking like comedy now.
Most of these people have been on.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So. Yeah, I really like Quinn, but
Quinn Fitzgerald, by the way, from episode whatever in the past.
Oh, as opposed to all the other Quinns we know.
Yeah.
Quinn, he should go on a hike and get his beard trimmed.
Mm-hmm.
His comedy, he's been awesome the last handful of times I've seen him, but I'm always just like, we should just.
I talked to him about it.
Just trim your face and
it's some of it. Like, I just think he comes from a place of being almost like an artist. Like, it's just like he sees stand up as art, like, purely, and that's totally fine unless you want to get paid to do comedy. Yeah. And then people don't want to like work with you if you look like you just came out of the trash.
Unless you are so good that it doesn't matter,
mm-hmm.
which most trash looking people are not.
You kind of have to get to that spot first before you can have that luxury, I think. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is like an exception or whatever. Like, there are these guys that are like super successful that don't dress up, but.
Well, I think we're just critiquing the physique of men we know.
Yeah, that's what this episode is.
Yeah, man, you're
about.
Really taking it in that direction. Yes. It's like let's because I put on my winter coat.
Have you?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I've been eating a lot of ribeyes.
Really?
Like a pound ribeye in one sitting. And
That's a lot of red meat.
dude, I went for a run after doing that the same day.
No.
I didn't even think about it. I ate the ribeye for lunch. I went for a run, and it literally, I was running. I felt like like I was pregnant. Like, have you ever
felt pregnant before? No.
What happens when you eat that much red meat? Like, what is? I don't know. There's all these like inside like rules of thumb with red meat that I don't know.
Rules of thumb with meat.
Well, I was had dinner with somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, I can't eat red meat after X amount, like this time at night."
Well, I mean, it's everybody's body's different, but like, yeah, man, we're not supposed to just eat that much just flesh in one go. I mean, some people can, but it depends on like what your body is accustomed to diet wise.
What happens? So, like, what is it?
I'm not.
Why is it because it's a red? Like, what makes it different?
Well, I think it's a lot of protein, a lot of hormones to break down, and your body wants like grains and some sort of vegetation in the mix as well. And if you just go, here is 1 entire pound of dead flesh.
Isn't that what the carnivore diet is, though?
Yeah, but you have to ease into that. And also the carnivore diet, like a handful of people do it, but I don't think that's what we're supposed to do. But dude, there is like 8 billion of us, and people are like, this is what the human body's supposed to do. You're like, do you know how evolution works? Like, we just adapt to what we do for long enough.
Yeah.
You're just haphazardly doing this.
I've been eating a lot more fruit lately. Fruit is good. Like, for a long time, I was like, I fucking stopped eating fruit, you know, because it has sugar, like so much sugar. But there's so much fiber in it that, like, I think those two kind of balance each other out. Like, but I fucking thought like, oh, you shouldn't eat fruit. That's just gonna like be like excess carbs. But it's the fiber. Like, I don't know. You read one, you have an idea, you Google it, and it starts supporting your theory on diet.
That's the problem with the internet is that you can find anything to justify anything you think, or the opposite. You're like, oh, I'm going to think this way. And you're like, I should look up the opposite. And the opposite's like, no, this is the reality. Yeah. And you're like, oh no, I guess fruit isn't good.
Back to the San Francisco comedy.
I'm not done talking about Burundi's abs. They're so bumpy. Yeah, man, you're taking this in weird directions. Let's do it.
I think this happened yesterday with Emmett too. It just fucking it's guys with beards. They just I get lost in you.
Lost in me talking about other men.
Wait, is it true? I've been told this like 3 times now. Is there poo in beards?
Dude,
is this a internet thing?
It's I was just thinking about how annoying that was. It was like 5 or 6 years ago when some article showed up, and then everybody on Facebook is just like tagging me in it, just being like, turns out beards have poop particles in them. And I'm like, yeah.
Why'd you say that like John Lovitz?
Oh, is that how he sounds? Poop particles. Because it's stupid, because poop's everywhere. This is just the grossest place to have feces.
Yeah, no, that's
poop. Like, you go into a bathroom, you'd take a hefty dump, a healthy dump.
Yeah.
Or an unhealthy one. How was that BM after that pound of ribeye and that jog?
It was like I'm still dealing with it.
Oh, it was yesterday? Friday.
Yeah. I'm still like, it's been waves. I fucking
maybe eat some shrubbery and get a little lettuce in your body to help just kind of to brush out the sides.
Is that, Google that, see if that'll help.
No, I don't need to. That's just a fact, is that if you eat some sort of some sort of vegetables, it'll help you poop. You talk about fiber and fruit. You're like, other
I don't understand fiber at all. There's
I don't know
soluble and insoluble fiber. I know there's one that's good and like one that will push stuff through and one will bind. And like, if you have too much of one, it'll just be straight diarrhea. And then if you have too much of another, you're not going to shit for days.
So you got to find that sweet spot to get that smooth dookie drop.
If anybody knows what fiber actually is, comment in the episode here.
Who know? Do you have a fiber hookup? Who here is a fiber scientist?
Because there's Metamucil and that pushes things through, right? Like that will help you go to the bathroom.
Isn't that just like a brand of something?
Metamucil is a fiber supplement.
Well, I mean, to go back to what we said earlier, is that it's also just marketing, man. They have to create things that we need. And then the diet industry is always changing because they always have to invent a new diet to get you hooked, because no one actually sticks to a diet long enough to get the changes that they strive for.
I have a theory on this. I think fucking vitamins, like vitamins that you buy in the store, cause a lot of like digestive issues for people.
Okay.
Or just different like health issues, just taking that like raw vitamin, and therefore you end up having to take all this other shit because it's fucking up your system.
I don't think it's the vitamins. I think it's just the American diet.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, we eat most of the food is like full of preservatives, which aren't natural. Most other developed countries don't have the obesity problems that we do. Like, we have a lot of food here and not a lot of nutrients, and then we all get kind of fat and then spend all this time trying to figure out how to not be fat while still eating the food that made us fat.
We're always so hungry. Like, I'm always fucking hungry, dude. It's like, if you eat American food, like how it's prepared and stuff, like it's not very nourishing, like you said. Like, and there's so much there's just too much bread, like too many grains with everything.
It's easy to make.
Yeah, and it stays like.
Also, bread is so good for dipping in sauces. That's how they get you. That's how they got me.
What do you mean?
Oh, I like me some dipping sauces. I'm a ranch boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like ranch too.
Yeah.
Do you do pizza with ranch?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I battle my lactose intolerance every day.
Really?
Yeah, I might be lactose intolerant. It's a scatter shot. It's a poop joke, everybody. That's a diarrhea poop out my butt joke.
Do you ever get flack for eating pizza with ranch? Like, why do people have a problem with that?
Because it is disgusting.
It's not the fucking mayo with fries, though. Do you do that?
But dude, ranch, do you know how to make ranch? It is, man, like some places make ranch with just seasoning and mayonnaise.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why
people
it's not
get
good.
grossed out by people putting like fries and mayonnaise, and I'm like, it's not that different than ranch. It
just has dill and
yeah.
Fucking, I don't know. That's something's in that valley though, man. It's hidden.
Yeah, for being hidden, man, they do export a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how many fucking bottles of Hidden Valley Ranch I ate in Minnesota growing up, but it was like literally we would have like every day we'd get cheeseburgers and fries. It was like me and the guys I sat with at lunch, and it was like, you're a fucking dork if you got anything but cheeseburger and fry.
Dude,
like it was so like we shamed each other about what we ate. It was so stupid. Like somebody got Domino's and like, what are you doing? It's cheeseburger fry table. Like, you get out of here.
You're breaking out of the tribe.
And it was like I don't think any of us actually enjoyed the cheeseburger. It was just the leader of the pack decided.
One person one day said a thing, and then everyone's like, I guess that's who we're gonna be for the next 3 years.
And I wanted to eat healthier. Like I was like, I think this is making me fat. And
for sure,
that's what it is. It's just guilt around your friend. Like if you go to McDonald's, I don't know if you even go there anymore. Like if I'm on the road or whatever.
I tried to get me some Wendy's. They got some good salads there.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, it's got some fruit in it, so it's a lot of sugar. But but the greens are like decent.
It's pretty expensive though at like all the fast food places now. It's like, it's not even, it used to be that it was cheap and fast.
No, it's because I think Bill Burr has a bit about how McDonald's, like when they like started making salads, that's when they messed up. But yeah, eating healthy is more expensive than eating poorly, and that's part of the problem.
Wait, it's more expensive?
Yeah. To get a salad from like a restaurant, that's like $20.
I thought like in my head going to the grocery store and getting stuff.
No, see, doing that, getting like the fix-ins isn't that expensive, but like to just get the food prepared for you is more expensive, and it just kind of incentivizes like, no, eat this bread.
in the dipping sauce.
Eat this bread. Oh, if the bread by itself, you mean that just flour that we cooked doesn't taste good enough? Would you put it in a thing that's supposed to go on greens? That's honestly how I got into salads as like a little kid. My parents were like, you should eat some more salads. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to put cheese and ranch on top of it. And I will destroy a salad. I was like, look how healthy I am. As I'm just eating just a block of cheese, dressing and cheese with a little bit of greens.
Oh, man, dude, I went to a restaurant with a guy once, and I want to get back to McDonald's shaming. So don't let me forget that. But we went out for like a company work thing, and this guy got a steak salad, and like he got blue cheese, and it came like a legit cup of blue cheese. Like there was a lot of dressing, and the server comes, orders, and he's a big dude, like fucking type 2, like just.
He's a big dude, type 2.
Like he talked about it a lot. You know when like someone is type 2 and they tell everybody that, like, I don't know, I would probably just like.
Why would you? I've never met that kind of person because I feel like there should be more shame involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like being like, I wear diapers every day because I can't hold it in and I'm not ashamed. You're like,
you might.
Is it because of your own actions? Absolutely. Yeah. It's because of the actions I took with my body. You're like, I don't want to be a part of validating your choices in this way.
It's a weird thing. Like, and if you like, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like that seems like you're like supporting it in a way.
But that's the behavior of people that know they're doing something wrong. They might also lean in the direction of going, you know what? I'm going to make other people feel guilty for what I'm doing until they tell me I'm good and I get validation for the shitty choices I know I should change, but I'm not going to change because I'm too fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Not to shame anyone, but also to shame a little bit. Like a little bit. Like, don't make me be a part of your bullshit. Nah.
He spun out.
Little spin?
Yeah, these fucking new cars, man. I'm telling you. I think we're supposed to have the guy that drives the 10 car on in a couple weeks here. So.
Oh, dope.
Should be fun. He came on few months ago.
Kai Bush?
That's Kyle, yeah. That's 18, but.
Oh, all right. Well, sorry. I saw a 10.
I don't know where
that's the
Eric
ranking.
might be out already. Anyway, little spoiler alert, we might be having some cool upcoming guests, but if not, this episode is one of the best we've done so far.
Yeah, a lot of talk of diet and inside baseball. It's good. Let a dude who ate 2 chocolate chip cookies the second he got home because he wanted to intermittent fast that night. That's what I do. I intermittent fast, and then I'm like, oh, it's almost 8 o'clock. All right, now we're good. We're good for the night.
What are the cookies?
It was like some